There we go. Sounds good. And I'm going to put on a hat too. Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. It's Nicholas from the Pictor team. Thank you so much for joining us today. A little bit of housekeeping at the top of the call. I'm one person and I am trying to monitor all the different channels here. So if I don't respond to you in the chat, I apologize. Please feel free to turn on your microphone and just shout out. If it's something relevant to the current workflow that we're working on, I will happily answer. I went to art school, so I'm very familiar with people raising their hands and talking about themselves. If that happens to be the case, I will kindly ask you to hold your question till the end, and we'll get back to it then. So for today, we had a special request from Louis, Kebra, and Kalai to do a pet portrait, which is really exciting. I have a really cute pet who's literally actually out on her dog walk right now. When she gets back, she's going to scratch at the door and I will introduce her to everyone. So let's dive in. Does anyone have any questions before we get started specific to what we're going to do today? Going once, going twice. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull up this. I'm just going to do one more thing here in the background. And let's dive in. Let me pull up my screen share. So prior to us meeting today, I did pull some assets from a dog or pet brand that I thought of top of mind. So Purina. We'll use them as an example today. So we're going to build out a few things. We're going to start with simply the idea is, Purina is doing some sort of experiential event and they sell food for all types of pets, not just dogs and cats. So we're going to open this up to a wider birth of animals, I guess, for lack of a better term. And what we're going to do to start is we're going to make one prompt. We're going to test it. Prior to us meeting, I started to work on a prompt and we'll kind of finesse it together that has some variables. So when people upload a photo, it doesn't have to be a cat or a dog. They can determine what type of a pet it is. Also, I thought it would be fun if we could have different styles of the aesthetic as well as different professions. So Purina actually has, open this here. Did a bunch of just screenshots of stuff, so let me. This is one of their taglines, how your animal achieves greatness. And I thought it would be by becoming a professional. So that's just a silly thing that we can do together. We'll also include a survey so we can say the pet's name. So we'll do that. To start off, for those of you who are new here, I have a tool called Whisperflow. I can share a link to it where I can dictate into my chat versus typing just to speed things along. So what I'm going to do to start here is just a very, very basic prompt that says, hey, I would like you to use this image of a pet. Let me actually just do it. Hi, I'm working on a generative AI experience and I want to be able to upload a photo of a pet. In this case, let's just start simple with a dog. And I want it to look like a Renaissance painting with beautiful brush strokes. I want it to not be perfect. I want it to be very painterly. It must look like the dog in the photo that I upload. And it should be in a Renaissance scene. And we don't want it in a frame. We just want a blank. We just want the painting edge to edge. So I said a few things in there, edge to edge, things like that, because when we do Renaissance painting, for example, it typically tends to put it in that like Rococo or like gold frame, which could be great depending on how we're doing this. But since we're building towards multiple different types of output, I am going to go frameless here. Let me do this here. Just want to keep an eye on the waiting room. Cool. And Mitch, you installed Whisperflow. Oh, it's amazing, right? I will share a link with everyone to that in the notes as well. So let's pop over here and I'm going to just run this. For those of you who are new here also, I use Perplexity as sort of my main go-to LLM for things like this for a few reasons. One, because it has access to all these different models. I will also share a link to Perplexity as well. There are a bunch of different LLMs. etc. I will share Amit the link to Whisperflow later, and I've never needed to upgrade, though you can if you'd like. So here is this initial prompt. And if we weren't in a call right now, I would read through this and really kind of babysit it and get it to where I wanted it before running the first flow. But since we're here, let's do a live version. And I'm going to go into my account. I'm going to go into my, where is this? Custom AI prompts. I'm going to create a new prompt. And I'm going to drop that prompt text in here. So typically we would upload a picture of a human here. And I should have thought of this prior to, I can probably find prior to hopping on this call, but let me see if I can find a photo of my cutie patootie dog anywhere. Simply, no, let me go grab one real fast. Oh, I know. I will make you all look at her Instagram account and we can pick a photo. This is Ruthie. She is essentially AI dog on her own. She's so cute. You find this photo of her. It's great. Oh, it's a video, but let's see if we can get here. And I'm just going to save this photo of her to my desktop. I'm going to do one more variant because she has these like really ridiculously big ears. Here, that's perfect. This photo implies she's very zen. She is not. Getting some variants on this. And now let's pop back over here to our demo. And let's see what we got here. We'll start with this. And now let's go ahead and generate that image. So it is a good start. There are definitely things that look a lot like my dog, things that don't. Like I mentioned, those ears are what really make Ruthie's personality, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and just go a little wider on that shot. And let's rerun that one more time. For those of you asking for the the Whisper link, I just dropped it in the chat. That is the dictating tool that I use. There is a paid version, though I've never had to upgrade to it. You will get slightly better dictation and faster local models, etc. But for the most part, there we go. So there we go. That's starting to really look like Rue. And so for what we're going to do for the sake of this, I want to run just a quick video test here as well. So slow camera movements, the subject of the video stays still, and we see activity around them. I'm going to say subtle activity. I've been like really into cinemagraphs lately. Let's see if this works. That was like kind of my idea for what I would like to happen there. In the meantime, we're going to use this prompt. Oops, we'll use the next prompt, but set this thumbnail. Anyone have any questions while we're generating?
Hey Nick, this is just a general question. When I last really looked at Pictor, it was PBX, not the one gone, but last year, so 2025.
Yes.
And I believe that you were just kind of launching. Am I right in thinking that you're now like a full service booth software, which will to do everything, include take the pictures and everything?
Yeah, great question, and I appreciate you asking it. So yes, at this point, Pictor, in my opinion, is everything that a snap pick is, and then more. Sort of a lot of the things that people have said to us is like, oh, you're like Breeze, but as easy to use as snap pick. I'll take that compliment, but our UX UI is still a little bit tricky, and that's something that we're working on now. We're aiming to have V2 of the UX UI launched by PBX Europe of this year. So everything's fully functional with parity plus to those other apps. For example, AI video, which I don't believe anyone else has yet. But yes, you can do stills, GIFs, boomerangs, etc.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Great question. Good to hear from you, Amit. So it looks like that came out a little bit stiller than I had wanted, but that photo is really cute. So let's save this for now. We can come back later to the video aspect of it. And now let's pop over here. We're going to begin by creating our event. And one thing, if you hadn't thought about this, that's different about a typical photo experience and a pet photo experience is at most of the events you attend, people are not bringing their pets. At some of the events we have done photo booths for dogs and for other things that like, best in show type events like dog shows, I guess, for lack of a better term. But in this case, we can really target anyone who has a pet at any event by allowing them to use the QR code to upload a photo of their pet. So part of what we're going to do today is also set up that virtual experience. So let's start by calling this pet portrait. And you could do a client or a project. For now, I'm going to leave those blank. I'm going to pop over into my flow. I'm going to go into my global settings here just to change a few things. For those of you who are new, let me just show you quickly. We ship everything kind of in this gray blank state, which looks great if you use it this way, and looks even better if you add things to it, in my humble opinion. So let's go ahead in this, and we can go ahead and add some branding. I have, prior to the call, as I mentioned, pulled up some different assets. Of course, one of them was not the Purina logo, so let me go get that really quick. And I find that, yeah, let's do this one. So for those of you who tuned in last week and we thought we found a bug, actually we were trying to upload some very weird file that I just grabbed off the internet, which ended up not throwing a toast error, which it should have. So that's been fixed, but there wasn't actually a bug, I'm happy to report. Okay, so we've got our Purina logo. If I save that, we'll start to see this coming into fruition now. So we have already got the Purina logo here. The Purina brand, we go to their website, is a lot of whites and reds. So what I'm actually going to do is on this simplify our look and really just come over into the branding, the background, and I'm going to make our background white as can be, 100% alpha. I'm going to go to my modals. I'm going to remove this background color here. So I'm going to put that alpha at 0. And for our modal color, let's pop back over to their website. They have this red, which I don't love it, but it's their brand. So who am I to say no? I'm going to use my little color picker here, which is another great plugin, which just gets me their hex codes. And I'm going to bounce back over here. So let's make that modal color match that. And let's put it at 50%. Save. And now on refresh here, you're going to see this look and feel change drastically so that it matches what we just looked at. So we have the white background, the Purina logo, and that red. And what I can also do here, and this isn't all about a branding one, so I'm going to just show you quickly, but we don't really see any rounded edges here. We have on that one button, but for the most part, things are pretty boxy. So let's go back over here. And what I'm going to change is the curvature around the edge of the modal. And I'm going to pop over here. And that modal is currently at 24. Let's just put it at a 5 or actually 6. I don't love a hard edge, but I also want it to be more square than it was. There we go. Subtle, but it makes a difference. And then let's pop back over here. And we see that their main buttons are black and then their secondary buttons are red. So let's pull that red. Let's go back over here. And if I switch this now from tap to proceed, to large button here, and then I change button color here to primary button, we're going to go black with white text. Secondary button, I'm going to go white. Yeah, we'll do that. White with that red text, just because that red looks like too much like an error color for me, honestly. And I don't want people thinking that we got an error. Okay, so now we have our black button. There. We do have these like kind of pill shapes here. We also have these rounded edges. For now, I'm just going to leave it, but you could go in and modify all of those details. The other thing I'm going to do, just so you can see, is add a title, a subtitle, and body text here. Just so you can see how these things will start to fill out. So this is how you would go ahead and customize the event for this particular guest. Title, subtitle, etc. Next, we're going to pop in here and add in a survey. And we're going to do this because we want to tokenize and get that pet's name. We want Fido to get all the love they deserve. So we're going to say, what's your pet's name? Text. And let's restrict that to 20 characters. We're going to make it required. Let's not make it required. So when I'm testing, I don't have to type something in every time. Save that. And now as I refresh this, you're starting to see this come into effect here. So you can see that. Something that I always say, and so forgive me those who have heard it a lot, is one of the things we think about at Pictor all the time, because we run a photo booth company as well. I run a company called OutSnap, which is about 1,000 events a year. And in those thousands of events, the switching back and forth from tab to tab, it's seconds each time, but that adds up to minutes a day, hours a week, etc. So what we're actually doing is stripping out a lot of the things that take those extra seconds and reformatting them so that they're a lot easier to use as we move forward. So next we will go through, hey, Misty, I see your question about an API. We actually do have an API of our flow in the back end. If that's something that you're interested in, that would be under Enterprise, Misty. And you can shoot me an email after the call, or we can chat after. We do have a ton of Enterprise features, and we can always do custom development for any of you as well if you have a specific need. So now that we have the survey, we have the pet's name, let's go into now creating a experience. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a template. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to create a template. Let's keep it simple. Let's just go square, 1-to-1. I pulled prior to our call images. So I'm going to upload one of those images. Okay. And so I just did grab this as a screenshot. Obviously, if you're working with your client, you're going to be getting very specific assets they want you to use. But for today, we'll do this. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in text. And let's go ahead and once again, get that red color. We'll grab our text. Let's change the color to the red. Ta-da. And one of the other things that's really neat is you can upload any font you want, or you can use all the Google fonts. So let's go and find something that seems to match this. So let's try here. We have access to all of the different weights. Let's go semi-bold. And now we did 20 characters. So W is the largest character. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is likely longer than most of your dogs or pets' names, but just in case someone has a very long pet name, let's do this. Let's go ahead and center that text here. And let's go up to 75. Nope, that broke it. So let's go to 60. Nope. 55 characters. And I would probably change this just so it fits a little bit better. So I may go back and actually, if I were doing this, I may go back and reduce to 15 characters. Actually, let's just do that instead of talking about it. So let's delete 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I want this to be bigger. Lots of trial and error here. But typically if you're working with a client like this, they're going to give you all this information anyways. So 72 is the max there. In a perfect world, I wanted it to be the same height as the logo, but for the sake of the demo, this is great. And what was that tagline? How your animal achieves greatness. So this is going to now come to, let's duplicate this. How okay, I know what we're gonna do. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. How blank, and then this is gonna say achieves. And now we have our and I'm gonna go back now that we're broken to 2 lines. I'm gonna go left aligned. And so we're doing this all here. You don't need to go to Photoshop. You don't need to go to Canva. It's all happening right here in the template editor. For those of you who joined us last week, you know that we now also have a much simpler way of doing these things. Well, not these things. We have a simpler flow that allows you to very quickly move through if you're not doing these things. The next thing I'm going to do is actually add a little bit of transparency to this. That's something I like doing. So that way, if there's something cool behind this, we don't lose it. So it's just 90, and that's just going to give a little bit of see-through. I'm going to call this dog template. We'll save that. And this is still missing something very important, and that is the capture. So do we want to include the original photo in this, or do we just want to go and include the AI? Kayla says no original photos, so no original photo today. We're going to go to add AI image. I'm going to select my prompt. I'm going to go to my custom prompts where I have my dog painting. I'm going to say one output, and I'm going to go and hide the original. So now we just have this, and I'm going to pop this up. I love using math just to make sure these things are perfect. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and put this layer all the way at the bottom. And as I mentioned before, I gave this layer just the slightest amount of see-through so we don't lose whatever is behind it. We're not going to just crop off. Okay, let's save those changes. And let's close that. Let's save this. And now let's pop back up to our tester. And I'm going to go ahead and put in Ruthie's name. I'm going to upload a photo of Ruthie. This is prompting me to crop to a square, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to finish. We don't have any sharing set up here, so now it's just loop back to the top. And let's save that. While it's rendering out, I'm going to add my share. And I'm going to simply put share output. We'll do a quick template together just so you can see how easy it is to do that. We're going to pop up here. We're going to grab that same Purina logo up top, Purina logo on the bottom, and say, you dog, you. I don't know, that seems like a fun thing to say. Your pet is almost, no, your pet has officially achieved greatness, right? And if we wanted to, we can make this text red. Typography, color black. Let's go red there. Just so it's on brand. Let's call this Purina email. And we want to turn on the HTML there. I don't want to include the portrait because I want them to click through to the website. And I'm going to go ahead and say, your pet has achieved greatness. Can include multiple emails. And we will save this for now. And let's pop over here to our render queue. This has come back. And let's see how we did. Great. So not bad for a first run. Ruthie has achieved greatness. One thing to note is I have everything else in caps here, and I have Ruthie's name in lowercase. What we can do is we can change everything to title case, or we can go ahead and back in here, which I'm going to do. I'm going to recommend because you won't have control over how people type things in. I'm going to go back into my choose experience. I'm going to go into my template. And two things. I think that I have two spaces here. I do. And I'm also going to put this into uppercase, so it's forced into uppercase. Save those changes. No other requests on that for me. I'm going to go into virtual first because it's really important for this particular event. We can't do this without the virtual. So I'm going to show you that next, and then we can go into that more customized output. Let's go into our outputs here, and I'm going to scoot over to virtual booth. For this particular event, you are going to want to include is upload enabled? Yes, because we can't do it without. I'm going to show you what the virtual booth looks like with no edits. So let's go ahead and look at that. So we have our virtual booth here. So with no edits, we've taken on all of that branding. Name, etc. This will resize to your window. And Louis and some of the others that were having some of those issues with the 80%, that should be fixed now. It is not going to work on every single device in the world with every single browser, but on all the main ones, iOS and Android, on Safari and Chrome, you should be working. If you find it not to be, please do put in a support ticket so we can check it out. So now, I don't think we need any particular edits to this. So I'm going to go back and go to the flow here real quick. And let's see, is there anything else we want to add here? Okay, let's add a terms of service. Let's do this. So one of the things that I love about Pictor that no other software does is you can move these around in any order you want. So for example, we definitely want the terms of service to happen immediately after the start screen. And I want to get their email address first because I'm a greedy corporate client. And quite frankly, I would almost prefer they don't do this because then I don't have to pay for it, but I get their email address this way, right? So there's a lot of different ways you can move these around, and you can plan that with your client based on their KPIs. So your client comes to you and says, the most important thing to us is email addresses. We don't care about anything else. Cool, we're going to get that email address first. We want them to agree to the terms of service so we can use the email address. If they fall off, that's on them. Or you can put the share at the end, which is more likely to get people to continue because they want their image. Did everyone follow that? Cool. So let us all, who on the call, turn on your microphones for a moment. Who here doesn't have a pet? Anyone? Do you have any? Who here's a cat person?
Can I say both? Because I have both.
You can, but if you could only have one, which would it be?
A dog.
Okay, good. Rick, are you a cat person? You're a secret cat person?
Both cat and dog.
Gotcha. I grew up with a mother who was like super allergic to cats. So just in my head, they're like evil animals and I can't shake it. My neighbor has a cat and I take care of it whenever she travels, which is often. So me and Richard have a thing going, but overall, I am a dog
Richard.
person through and through. We're on nicknames. He calls me Nikki and I call him Richie, so it's cool. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is for those of you, I think it'll be fun to start here. Let me zoom in on this QR code, or actually I can just drop it in the chat. Those of you who do have pets or have access to Google Images, you can scan this QR code with your device, or you can use that link and let's see some of your pets as beautiful painted portraits. The next thing, why am I raising my hand? The next thing to note is last week someone asked about these QR codes. Think of these QR codes as your internal testing tools. And then we always like to suggest using a third party like QR code generator, etc., to create a QR code where you can change the endpoint. These are direct to your specific event. So if anything happens and you need to change your event, this QR code is going to go to the wrong place. So use this during testing, etc. But we really do strongly encourage you to use a tool like Bitly or other where you can change the endpoint of your URL. While all of y'all are distracted, I'm going to go ahead and set up a little slideshow here so we can see some of those images coming in. For those of you who are listening, I'm going to add a header image to this. Let's upload what we got here. Let's do the how your pet achieves greatness as the header. Let's leave the background as white. Let's do static, not motion. Oh, let's do both because we'll probably need it later. Oh, and let me show how this works. So we actually have the ability to add advertisements into this. So let's go ahead and just pull this as a sample. And we also have the ability to do full screen takeovers. So let's pop over here. Let's see if there's a Facebook header that could work for that. This is actually great too. So set images. Okay. Whoops. I had an internet blip, so let me do that again while everyone is watching. So I'm going to go ahead and add a header graphic to this. How your pets achieve greatness. We want the background to be white. We want to show static images as well. I want to go ahead and add a grid media. Let's add Ruthie to that. Let's also add one of these ads that I downloaded. Pull it from my hard drive. Actually, let's just remove Rue. Let's go ahead and add a full screen media. So if you imagine that you're doing this at an event and you no longer need the physical photo booth, what we've been recommending with our OutSnap clients is that they get very large LED screens. Some of the area has call to action, so you could use a grid media as a call to action to scan this QR code to participate, and then have full screen and also be sharing in, whoops, there we go, real time this slideshow of the content. And that's where this really gets magical. We have some, oh, love that, Rick. We have some clients who have done things like this using Pictor and have done over 800 photos in a day, which is like wild. We have the ability to change this. So if they're doing a horizontal screen, this looks great. If they are doing a vertical screen, we can also pop back over here, save this, refresh this, and you'll see it's going to instantly now fit this media shape. So very cool stuff on that. I'm going to close this for now, and let's pop back over to this. So prior to our call, I built this, and this is going to be a prompt that is going to use a survey. So a masterful blank, the style of this type of pet in the strict unified artistic aesthetic of style, acting as a blank profession. The entire image is, you get the point. So now I'm going to take this document, I'm going to come back over into this. I'm going to go to my custom prompt. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. And I'm going to drop this in here. So now I'm going to add some survey questions. So what type of animal is your pet? Over here, let's just keep it simple for time's sake. For those of you who have animals other than dogs and cats, we will get to you in a moment if we have time. Does anyone else have an animal other than a cat? A pet? No one? Bird? Okay. We'll leave it at that then. And now let's do artistic style. what's your pet's favorite artistic style? I'm sure most of you have had that conversation with your pet. Let's pop back over here. And I pulled some, but we have the classic Renaissance oil painting. So let's use that one again. And note here, we have the ability to have a token and a title. So what that means is on the front here, I can just say oil painting, but into the prompt, it's going to inject classic Renaissance oil painting. I could go further and use this full detail as well. So for now, let's do this. Did someone have a question?
I was just commenting how nice that is.
Thanks. Thanks. And let's do one more. Rick, was there one on here that caught your fancy? Soft watercolor, anime, impressionism, pop art?
Let's do the vintage.
This one?
Yeah.
And let's just call this vintage comic book. And then let's go ahead and add the profession. What career path has your pet chosen to achieve greatness? So we're tying it back into the entire event theme. And we got professions here. We got astronaut, firefighter, veterinarian. That one's a little bit meta. Police officer. Joe Robbins, do you have a preference? Going once. Kayla, do you have a preference?
Let's do a chef.
You bet. Hey, Kayla.
Hi.
Someone else yell something out.
Race car driver.
You got it. Who is that? Hey, Rick.
Rick.
And let's add one last one. I'm curious. This is like, seems a little cruel, but let's see what it is. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead up here and we're going to, once again, I have to upload my test image and I'm going to call this Pet Mega Menu. And I'm just going to save this because I'm afraid that okay, let's do that. Let's generate it. And now I have to take my answer one, which is every time we say what type of pet this is. So I'm going to do pet type. I'm going to remove that variable and I'm going to put in answer one. And I'm just going to do a find and replace. I'm going to do that there. Let's see if there's another. This pet is fully. Okay. There's Rue. Now let's go for the artistic style is going to be answer number two. So something that's a little bit confusing is we talk about tokens that you use and you pay for to create these outputs. We also talk about tokens from a programmatic sense. Think of them as variables that we're replacing. In engineering world, you call them tokens. So we're going to replace the word style here with the variable or token. It's called tokenizing with answer two, which is the variable. And ironically, my dog has just come back and she is like literally sniffing hard at the door. So I'm going to grab her in a second. Let's just find style to make sure that we don't have any more of these up here. Style. I'm going to leave that style there. And then we have profession is going to be our last variable or tokenized answer. And we have to do profession. And so what this means is we are going to swap out anytime it says profession for what the person has answered with that. Okay, profession, professional closer to. Sounds good. One thing that we didn't do here is stipulate what we want our defaults to be. So since Rue is a dog, I'm going to put that as the default. We've already seen oil painting. Let's try this as the default token. And let's try driver as the default here. And let's go ahead and generate that. Does anyone have any questions about what it is we have done so far? Great. And we can hop back over to our slideshow and see while we're waiting for this to render out. Some other folks' pets. Other cool things you can do on the slideshow here are you can actually make it so we can show more at a time. So let's do 2 and 3. And now this would be great for a column. Still showing more. Once again, this will resize depending on the screen. You can go back to horizontal here. That I think looks beautiful. If we let this play out for a second, you will see those interstitials that we put in start to come up. I'm going to pop back over here and see how our render is. Pretty awesome. Ruthie as a comic style, vintage comic book race car driver. So let's go ahead and use this prompt. Sorry, this prompt setting, this thumbnail, because I think that this thumbnail is let's just use this one. So that's something important to point out. You can use a prompt setting, meaning use this prompt, but this thumbnail if you wanted. So go ahead and save that. Now we have our pet mega menu. Let's bounce back over here. Go into our flow. Go into our choose experience. I'm going to simply, for the sake of this, duplicate and call this now choices. And let's go and select our prompt, custom mega menu, and that swap happened already. So that's going to be right out of the box. Save those changes. And let's get a little bit crazier. And so something that I did do just to show you different ways to brand these, it's going to be in some ways incorrect, but I want to show you that you can change thumbnails here. And so if you were to have people pick their pets in a different way, you could then have people go through this experience in a slightly different way. So instead of now putting the prompt selection in the particular prompt itself, you could have multiple prompts that would allow you to click in this way. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Doing all right. Just got here. A little late.
We'll have the replay for you.
Cool.
So now, in this particular use case, these are not assigned to rabbit and horse, but you could do it that way. And you see how you can really quickly brand this experience. So it looks exactly like the Purina brand where we get this. I think I pulled these right off of, I know I pulled them right off here somewhere. I just don't remember where. It doesn't matter for the sake of this, but you get the idea. You can change these out. So the last thing we're going to do for funsies is let's Hail Mary this Let's duplicate this out. And once again, this has not been tuned at all, so I cannot promise what's going to happen. And let's call this video. Let's go to our layers, go to our hidden layer capture. Let's turn off the AI image. Let's turn on, and this is a little counterintuitive for people. We add AI video to a still image because we use a still single image to create it. I'm going to go ahead and now select my prompt, which is this, pet mega menu. I'm going to reduce my time to 5 to match this. I'm going to use my math to just quickly do this, 1600 by 1600, 00. And I'm going to make this the back layer. And I'm going to put this image behind that. And I'm going to just quickly go back over to my capture. I'm going to select my edits. And this shipped because we didn't complete it with slow camera movement. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to say animal subject of the video keeps eye contact with the viewer at all times. I have found that since we are creating this from the way video works is we essentially create it frame by frame from the previous frame. So if as the animal or person were to turn, you're losing their likeness. And when you come back the second time, it may not look as spot on. So let's go ahead, and this is called video, save changes. And I'm going to hide this original one. So we put this functionality in there not too long ago. It's not the prettiest implementation of it, but it works really well. Because a lot of times, there's that meme about like final_3 version 2, final. So a lot of times when we're working with our clients, we may show them something, they'll say absolutely not. And then we change it. And then 3 weeks later, we're back to the original. So we have this ability, if you've made something very complex, to just turn it off. You don't see it in the output, but it's still here. So now we have, instead of choices, let's do still. I'm going to rename this to, where is it? Oh, sorry, brain fart. Still, save. And I'm going to change the thumbnail on it. I think last week we did this in one of these. And an example during one of the show and tells, we did upload. I'm not gonna go look for it now, but for now, let's just do something simple. We'll keep it the horse and the rabbit again. Remember that the still is a horse. That's gonna say it anyways, but select thumbnail, and this will be our rabbit. And that same exact virtual booth link should now work for video. So let's all take it for a spin. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for those of you who have joined late. And I'm going to go and just do this here. I'm going to upload a photo of Ruthie, and then we will hop over to questions, Q&A. Remember, rabbit is video. I'm going to upload that image of Rue.
I tried to do my friend's alpaca, but it won't load it. I thought that would be interesting.
The load?
Huh?
What part won't load?
It's not when I complete it, it's not coming out because it's an alpaca.
Got it.
And yeah.
So what we could do, just for the sake of this exact example, let's go back here. And this is a really good thing to walk through, and I'll explain why in a moment. So when you build an event, and this is sort of like
Mhm.
a catch-22 because people are going to want it both ways. I can go in here now and quite simply add alpaca to this, which should solve your problem. We haven't tested for alpaca, but let's see, alpaca. And now if I save this, we've updated the prompt. However, since you may have a live event going and who knows what someone's doing in the back end, we freeze the prompts in your event. So in order to bring the alpaca to this, I have to go back into this and reassign that prompt. So I go to capture one, select prompt, and simply reassign it. Save.
Okay.
And so that's just something to keep in mind if you are doing this and not seeing your changes. That is done on purpose so that you don't mess up a live event or someone else doesn't mess up a live event, but it is one extra step. So it's just something to keep in mind. So now if I were to come here and let's just quickly refresh this experience again. I don't have a photo of an alpaca on me. So this is on you to test, but if I go into still, and I'll upload not an alpaca, but alpaca is now a choice here.
I uploaded her or
Oh,
him
did you upload
in the
you-
chat. The
the
chat.
app?
That's Flynn.
Did you put Flynn into this or do
The
you want?
chat. The chat.
Okay, so let me save as. Flynn is his name?
Flynn.
Flynn?
Flinn.
Glad we asked. Wouldn't want
Yeah,
to.
because he'd be, upset if you spelled his name wrong.
Okay, so let's put this in. Agree. Flinn.
Uh-huh.
Great. Next, video or still?
Let's do a video.
Cool. We got Flynn. Now crop in on him. Oh, he is a cutie.
He is.
Event today. Oil painting, 3D animation, or vintage comic book?
Oil painting. Let's see what he looks like.
Chef, race car driver, or veterinarian?
Um, Race car driver.
That's the most common profession for alpacas I've found. Cool. So bouncing back over here, let me make sure I have video turned on this.
God, I love them. Just so cute.
Static and motion. I check some of those renders here. Cool. We should be having some stuff popping up. Oh, mine are not gonna. Oh man, I did something silly. I used the test versus the. I will show you here, but it's not going to come up in the slideshow because I used this sample.
Oh, it's okay.
That's something important for people to remember. So if you use the simulator mode versus virtual, it will show up in your internal outputs. And there's our alpaca. It'll show up in your internal outputs and in your sessions, but it will not show up in your slideshows or galleries. Let's bounce back over here. So here's one of those ads, as I mentioned. And so it looks like I messed up something with this text when I redid that hastily, but we can fix that and I'll send it out to everyone to try again in a moment. But in the meantime, oh my God, there's your race car alpaca driver. That's pretty awesome.
I love it.
Got a chef. So this is when I hand over for Q&A. I know that we went through a lot of stuff very quickly there. If you have a question, other people probably do too. So feel free to turn on your mic or your camera and ask away.
Hey Nick, I have a question for you. This is Kalai.
Hey,
We have an opportunity to maybe put something on like a jumbotron
yeah.
and collect data for them, and have people like in the stands take their photos. What I don't know if you have this somewhere, and I know this is probably going to be based on location, but do you have any kind of pricing set up somewhere or kind of help with like how to price that out?
Yeah, so quite simply, depending on how many uses you're going to get, and that's something to keep in mind. That's something I can show you here. So the way I would recommend doing this is you have sort of the creation of the experience that you charge for. You have the number of sessions, which you can bake in. So it's a little bit easier to do the math on a physical photo booth because quite frankly, you can usually do maximum 45 to 60 per hour sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on a virtual photo booth, we've done some where we've done 70,000 in 3 days. It's like it can really add up. When we did that Sit with Bernie campaign a handful of years ago, we did over 1 million in 48 hours. And
Wow.
we're kind of trained to think that the internet is free. That cost me about 10K by accident, just to keep in mind what those numbers are. So when you're doing this, what I would do is bake in X amount of uses. So
21,000 uses.
21,000 people in the stadium or 21,000 uses?
21,000 average attendance. So are they all taking one, or half of them taking one, or all of them taking two? I don't know.
Based on historic experiences, you're looking at 35 to 55% participation. The pet may be different than a selfie. We don't have enough testing on that to give you a real answer, but if you want to say 21,000, you can quite simply go over here to our billing. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me do that. To our billing, and you can top up on tokens. 20,000 tokens is $1,400. So going back over to my wonderful place, say, I'd like to figure out base costing on something. I figure it's going to take me 10 to 20 hours of account management and creative. I bill my time at $250 an hour. My monthly license is going to cost me $150. And I expect 20,000 uses at $1,400 total. Please price in overages. So if people want to get more, if we go over, I don't know, price them in blocks of 500 as well. And then this will give you sort of your like base. This is your calculator now, right? So the other thing you can do is literally put in a screenshot of this. And say, these are my token costs. Make recommendations on how many I should include in a base package. The venue seats 21,000 people. I would expect between 35 and 55% of them to participate. And this is how you can really start to whittle it down. While it's doing that math, let me show you one other thing. Say you have a client that loves the idea, they want to test it, they're being stingy. And they say, we only want to pay for 500. You put 500 max sessions in here. When it hits 500, game over. No one can do it.
Oh,
In the virtual booth settings, you can put that message there too. So you can say, our client was cheap, therefore your pet cannot be great. Like the one jumbotron right now. And just so you can see what that looks like, I'm going to go back here, and we know we've done already 48 sessions. So I'm going to max this out at 45, save this. When I run virtual booth, Our client was cheap, therefore your pet cannot be great like the ones up on the jumbotron.
It's funny.
And then bouncing back over here, this will literally help you run your business. Like I can't make those decisions for you, but it's saying here for a 21,000 seat venue, your token packs cost this, assuming 1 token per interaction. So that's something else to think of is we want to do video, and the low res videos are 5 tokens a piece. Does that change anything? And it's going to say, yes, dummy, of course it does. But this is how I would kind of work that through. It's really like, what is your time worth to you? What is your relationship like with them? How bad do you need this case study? You know, all those are business decisions, right? So for me, if I had access to a jumbotron, I may eat a lot of this so I can do a case study to have access to a lot more jumbotrons. And those are things that you have to decide on a business basis.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
That's helpful.
I hope so. Does anyone have any questions about the variables that we did, any of the branding things that we did, or setting up the template itself?
I have one question that's not necessarily related, but kind of related. When
Yeah.
you're doing your when you're saying create your experiences, or you're selecting your experiences, you have an option for create folder and create template. What's the folder do?
Great question. So let's go back to my screen share. For example, imagine at this event, we have like, are you a normal person? You'll see where this is going in a second. Oops. Add folder. Are you a or do you own alpacas, right? So now you can take these and put them into different folders.
Okay.
And once again, those folders can be branded as well. So the example I always use, which is very sexist, but very easy for people to understand, is are you a girl or a boy? If you choose boy, everything is blue. If you choose pink, it's all girl options, right? So if I click here, now we have the livestock versus the other.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Any last questions? Going once, going twice? No? Okay. Does anyone have any requests for things that they would like to see last week? This was actually super fun for me because it gave me a mission for the week rather than being like, what should I show? What should I show? So if anyone has anything that they're dying to see more of, I would love to be able to share that with you. Anyone? Okay, you can think on that. Drop it in the support chat if anything comes up. If not, I was thinking that I would share the QR code pre-sharing and how we set that up. As I've been redoing a lot of the support documentation, I noticed that we refer to it a lot, but we haven't actually showed people how to use it or that it exists. So that will be a fun one for next week. And then if anyone has any requests, we can show something else the following week. So as usual, thank you everybody for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. I hope that this was helpful. Please do leave some support comments, or we send out an NPS after this. Please let us know what we can do to make this better. If I'm talking too fast, if my jokes are not funny, just let me know so that I can, if the songs are not good enough, please let me know. And then hold on, let me see if I can get Ruthie to come. She was promised to make a guest appearance. Yep, here you. She's literally sitting at the door saying, "It's my turn."
Aww.
Aw.
He's so cute.
Basically, so that was actually a real photo of her.
Oh, hi, Ruthie.
Awesome.
Look at them, not me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And as usual, if I'm going to try and get this up as soon as possible, it means a lot to us if you share some of those outputs in the Facebook group so people can see the cool things that you can do with Pictor. We really appreciate it. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.